Dear students, I hope you all are doing well. In previous lesson video, I discussed about classification of colloids. Today, I am continuing the same topic with another classification. The next classification of colloids are based on type of particles of dispersed phase. Depending upon the type of the particles of the dispersed phase, colloids are classified as multimolecular, macromolecular and associated colloids. Multimolecular colloids. We can start this topic with two examples of multimolecular colloids. One is gold sol and second one is sulfur sol. What do you mean by sol? Sol is a type of colloid in which dispersed phase is solid and dispersion medium is liquid. In gold solid is dispersed phase and water is dispersion medium. Sulfur is dispersed phase and water is dispersion medium. Like these colloids are called sol. And why gold sol and sulfur sol belong to multimolecular colloids? And what are multimolecular colloids? Answer is very simple. Actually, gold atoms are very small in size and their size is less than the colloidal particle size. So direct mixing of gold atoms with the dispersion medium like water will not produce colloidal solution. So due to this reason, gold atoms aggregate or connect together form a species and that species having size in the colloidal range. And that species formed from gold atoms mixed with the water form gold sol. The same way in the case of sulfur sol. Sulfur atoms are very small below the size of colloidal range, but they can form colloid after aggregation of atoms of sulfur. Like these colloids are called multimolecular colloids. Now let's read these points. In this type of colloids, a large number of atoms or smaller molecules of a substance aggregate together to form a species having size in the colloidal range. The molecules in the aggregate are held together by van der Waals forces. Example, gold sol and sulfur sol. Macromolecular colloids. Colloids in which macromolecules whose molecular size comes in the colloidal range get dispersed in a suitable medium are called macromolecular colloids. These colloids are quite stable. So it's very clear macromolecular colloids are not like multimolecular colloids. In macromolecular colloids, the dispersed particle already have colloidal range or the substance dispersed in dispersion medium have already in the colloid range, so direct mixing with the dispersion medium will produce colloids. For example, naturally occurring macromolecules like starch, cellulose, proteins, enzymes and man-made macromolecules like polythene, nylon, synthetic rubbers, etc. can form macromolecular colloids. Because the particles like starch, cellulose, their size is already in the colloidal range. What is the colloidal range? 1 to 1000 nanometer. So size of starch, cellulose, proteins already coming in this range. So direct mixing of these particles with a suitable dispersion medium like water will produce colloids. So no need of aggregation of atoms in the case of macromolecular colloids. Associated colloids or miscellaneous. There are some substances which behave as normal strong electrolytes at a low concentration but At a higher concentration, they exhibit colloidal behavior due to the formation of aggregates. The aggregated particles thus formed are called micelles. These are also known as associated colloids. Example, soaps and detergents belong to this class. When we make a low concentrated soap solution, in that solution soap behaves as a normal electrolyte. But if concentration of soap solution increase, then gradually the solution changes into colloidal behavior. The solution nature will change to colloidal behavior due to the formation of micelles. So about micelles, I will discuss in detail in the next section. So now next about Kraft temperature and critical micelle concentration. The formation of micelles takes place only above a particular temperature called Kraft temperature Tk and above a particular concentration called critical micelle concentration CMC. For soaps, the critical micelle concentration is 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised to minus 3 moles per liter. That is, if the concentration of soap below this value, soap behave like a normal electrolyte, but above this value, soap solution will form colloidal solution. Clear? So, in order to make a colloidal solution, the concentration of soap always should above the critical micelle concentration or above the value 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised to minus 3 moles per liter. Mechanism of micelle formation. Here I am going to teach you about the formation of micelle or associated colloids from soap. We know that soap is chemically sodium or potassium salt of higher fatty acid and may be represented as RCOO minus Na plus. One example is sodium stearate soap. The formula of sodium stearate soap is CH3CH216COO minus Na plus, which is a major component of many bar soap. Let's see the structure of sodium stearate soap. In sodium stearate soap, from this point to this point is long hydrocarbon part. So in general representation, the letter R indicate hydrocarbon part. COO Na is the next part of soap. So soap molecule always have two part, one hydrocarbon part and second part is COO part. Let's see the example. When sodium stearate soap, the formula is C17H33COO minus Na plus, dissolved in water, it dissociates into two ions, C17H33COO minus and Na plus. Na plus is not important in micelle formation, so we can leave the ion Na plus and take the first part. And the first ion consists of two parts. One is hydrophobic part and second is hydrophilic part. And hydrocarbon part is called hydrophobic tail. Why it is called hydrophobic tail? Because hydrocarbons are generally insoluble in water. For example, petrol. Petrol is a hydrocarbon and petrol is insoluble in water. So same like that, in soap molecule, hydrocarbon part is insoluble in water or water repelling. So we can use the term hydrophobic tail. Phobic means fear. Hydro indicates water, so water fear. So the word comes from this meaning, hydrophobic. Second part of soap molecule is COO minus. This end is called hydrophilic or water loving end. Why it is called hydrophilic end? Because COO minus group is soluble in water or have high tendency towards water. So COO minus is also called hydrophilic. Philic means loving, hydro means water. So the end is water loving or also called hydrophilic end. Soap molecule can also represent by using a simple method. Let's see the third picture. In this method, long hydrocarbon part is represented like a zigzag line and the hydrophilic COO minus end is represented by using a spear. Like this, we can represent all the soap molecules in soap solution. The RCOO minus ions are therefore present on the surface with their COO minus groups in water and hydrocarbons R chain staying away from it. Let's see the picture A. In this picture, we can see number of soap molecules. Each soap molecules having two ends. The spear indicate hydrophilic COO minus end and the zigzag line indicate hydrophobic hydrocarbon R chain. Here the hydrophilic COO minus group is attracted towards water because COO minus group is water loving. But the hydrophobic hydrocarbon chain staying away from water. Why it's staying away from water? Because the hydrocarbon chain is hydrophobic, so it's water repelling. This is the condition of soap molecules at a low concentration or below critical micelle concentration. But when the concentration of soap solution increases above critical micelle concentration or at the critical micelle concentration, the behavior of solution will change. Let's see the figure B. The figure B corresponds to the condition at the critical micelle concentration. At the critical micelle concentration, the hydrophobic hydrocarbon chain pulled into the bulk of the solution and hydrophilic COO minus group part remaining outward on the surface of the sphere. And at this condition, due to this arrangement, soap molecules will form a spherical shape. And this arrangement of soap molecules are called micellae. And micellae particle size is in the colloidal range, so micellae is also called associated colloid. Detergents also form micellae in the same way. Example, sodium lauryl sulfate. Cleansing action of soap. We know that soap is mainly used for cleaning dirty cloth or fabrics. How we can explain cleansing action of soap? I think the pictures given here will help you more to understand cleansing action of soap. Let's see the pictures. In the first picture, an oil dirt spot you can see in the fabric. Fabric means cloth. Now the second picture, after adding soap solution, some of the soap molecules will attract to the oil dirt spot. Can you tell which part of soap molecule will attract to the oil dirt spot? Hydrophobic part of soap molecule attract to the oil droplet and hydrophilic part point towards the water in the soap solution. In the last picture, you can see the formation of micellae around oil dirt spot. In the last picture, all the soap molecules now covered the oil dirt spot and finally the micellar will remove from the cloth. This is the way of cleaning clothes by using soap. I think now the topic is very clear for you.
Soaps and detergents are surfactants which help to dislodge dirt and grease by emulsifying them and thus help clean articles. Let's take a look at the molecular structures of soaps and detergents. Observe that they have similar structures. Each molecule is composed of a long, non-polar hydrocarbon chain which is hydrophobic in nature and a short polar head which is hydrophilic in nature. The hydrophilic end is attracted by water molecules, whereas the hydrophobic end of the molecule is repelled by water but is attracted by non-polar substances like oil. The cleaning action of detergents and soaps is attributed to this special feature. Have you ever wondered how soaps and detergents work to get rid of dirt and grime? Here's how. Dirt or grime generally has an oily component. Water cannot dissolve oil, and hence water by itself cannot take away dirt. This is where soap or detergent comes of use. Dirty clothes are soaked in water containing soap or detergent. When detergent or soap molecules come in contact with the oil or dirt on the fabric, the non-polar portion of such molecules attaches itself to that bit of grime or oil. Over time, more and more detergent molecules gather around it and a micelle is formed with the oil or dirt inside it. A micelle is a ball-shaped collection of detergent or soap molecules with the hydrocarbon ends clumped together on the inside and the polar heads on the outside. Eventually, through either agitation or stirring of water or rubbing, these micelles are lifted off from the fabric surface and get into the wash water. Remember that because of the charge on the heads of the detergent molecules, the outer surface of the micelle is charged. Since these micelles all have similar charges, they repel each other and remain suspended in the water. These get removed when the water is drained off. Repeated rinsing and wringing remove all such micelles and make laundry crispy clean.
Preparation of colloids. There are many methods used for preparation of colloids. First method is chemical methods. Colloidal solutions can be prepared by chemical reactions involving double decomposition, oxidation, reduction or hydrolysis. Examples: arsenic oxide react with hydrogen sulfide, undergo double decomposition and form arsenic oxide salt colloid. Next example is reaction of sulfur dioxide plus hydrogen sulfide, undergo oxidation, form sulfur sol. Next two examples is just to go through it and understand it. So these are the chemical methods for preparation of colloids. Electrical disintegration or Brennig's arc method. Salts of metals like gold, silver, platinum, etc. can be prepared by this method. This process involves dispersion as well as condensation. In this method, an electric arc is struck between the electrodes of the metal immersed in the dispersion medium. The intense heat produced vaporizes the metal, which then condenses to form particles of colloidal size. Another method of preparation of colloid is peptidization. Peptidization can be defined as the process of converting a precipitate into colloidal salt by shaking it with the dispersion medium in the presence of a small amount of electrolyte. The electrolyte used for this process is called peptizing agent. Cause or reason of peptization. During peptization, the precipitate absorbs one of the ions of the electrolyte on its surface. This causes the development of either positive or negative charge on precipitates, which ultimately leads to repulsion of charge on surface of precipitate and break up into smaller particles of the size of colloid.